So your diesel engine's cranking. It almost sounds like it wants to start, and then you see it. White smoke pouring out of the exhaust. Now you might be thinking, okay, we're getting fuel, so why won't it run? This is one of the most misunderstood no-start situations, and if you don't diagnose it properly, you can waste a lot of time and money. So in this video, I'm going to show you what white smoke means on a diesel engine that won't start, and how to diagnose it step by step. You don't have to be in the trade long to hear about people who have replaced injectors, swapped fuel pumps, or even torn engines apart trying to make that white smoke disappear. And the real problem was actually something way simpler. And white smoke, while it can be annoying to see back there, is actually a huge clue if you know how to read it correctly. So instead of guessing, we're going to break this down like a technician. You're going to learn what white smoke actually is, the main causes of a white smoke no start, and how to pinpoint the problem quickly. But let's start with what white smoke actually is. Because white smoke on a diesel is usually unburnt or partially burnt fuel. It means fuel is being injected, but it's not igniting properly. And for a diesel to ignite fuel, we need three things: heat through compressed air, proper fuel atomization, and mixing that heated air and fuel at the correct time. If any of those are off, you can get white smoke and no starts. So let's dive into a major reason for white smoke, and that's low cylinder heat. This is one of the big ones because diesel engines rely on that compression heat to ignite that fuel that gets injected into the cylinder. If the compression's too low, the fuel gets injected, but it doesn't get hot enough to burn. So it comes out of the exhaust as white smoke. Now, common causes of this can include worn piston rings, burnt valves, washed out cylinders from excessive cranking or fuel, or head gasket issues. Now, if the engine has started to sound like it's spinning faster than normal while cranking, compression might be low. And if the engine tends to start better with a blockator plugged in, that also points to low heat. And that leads us to cause number two, which is a cold engine or an intake heating system failure. Now, this is probably the most common cause of white smoke, especially in colder climates. If your glow plugs or intake heater aren't working, the combustion chamber stays too cold, and if fuel gets injected, it won't ignite properly, and the result is going to be white smoke. Common failures can include burnt out glow plugs, failed glow plug relays, faulty control modules, or wiring issues. In some medium duty Caterpillar C7 diesel engines, I've seen them have trouble starting at any temperature without a working intake air heater relay. If the vehicle hard starts when it's cold, but it starts fine when it's warm, check the air intake or glow plug system. In really cold temperatures, you may even have to cycle the key a few times to provide a longer preheat period. However, you'll still likely experience some white smoke until the cylinder warms up a little bit and the temperatures stabilize. This is normal operation and is nothing to be concerned about as long as the engine is actually starting. Next, we have cause number three, which is poor fuel atomization or possibly injector problems. So let's talk injectors for a second here. The diesel fuel doesn't just need to be injected lightly, it needs to be atomized into a fine mist. The injectors are worn out, dripping or carboned up, or not building proper pressure, you can get larger fuel droplets, which results in poor combustion and more of that lovely white smoke we're trying to avoid. Bad injectors usually give you other telltale signs that they're experiencing issues, including rough running or misfires if it doesn't start. Now, cause number four is incorrect injection timing. If the injection timing is off, fuel gets injected, you say, too early or too late and doesn't burn properly, the result is going to be white smoke and a no start. Causes can include faulty crank or cam sensors, timing chain or belt issues, slipped timing components or ECM problems. See, modern diesels rely heavily on these timing sensors, and if they're off, the whole system essentially falls apart and fast. Timing chain or belt issues are major issues that need to be fixed immediately, as huge engine damage occurs if these parts fail. Now, cause number five is water or contaminated fuel. Now, if there's water in the fuel system, it doesn't combust. It turns to steam, right? Instead of actually combusting the way we want it to create power. So this lack of combustion creates white smoke. Other contamination can include gasoline in the diesel tank, poor quality fuel, or fuel with large amounts of algae buildup. If the problem started immediately after fill up in some sketchy remote gas station that hasn't changed in 60 years, I'd be looking at the fuel quality first. And you may have to drain the entire fuel system along with replacing filters to get rid of all that nasty fuel and refill it with clean, good stuff. Now, another cause can be leaking injector cups. Injector cups sit in the cylinder head, and the injectors install directly into them. But these injector cups are surrounded by coolant. And if coolant sneaks into the combustion chamber through a leaking injector cup while the engine's off, the fuel air mixture gets messed up, of course, and white smoke results again. As the engine runs, the fuel pressure easily overcomes the coolant pressure, so you'll end up with fuel in your cooling system. Definitely a problem to get fixed right away. Now, not all engines have these, but it is something to consider, especially if it's a known problem for certain engine models. Looking at you, Volvo D13. So here's how you diagnose this white smoke without guessing. Step number 1, confirm the white smoke visually. Make sure it's not blue, usually that would happen due to oil burning, and make sure it's not black, which is usually due to overfueling or a lack of air. Number 2 is to check engine temperature conditions. If it's a cold start issue, check your glow plugs and intake air heating system, along with your coolant block heaters if equipped. Step 3, listen to cranking speed. Is it faster than normal? Could be low compression. Unlikely to be a problem with fairly new engines, but if you've got a lot of hours and a lot of kilometers on your engines, that's definitely something to consider. Step number 4, scan for codes. Look for timing sensor or injector issues. Step 5 is to check your fuel quality. You can drain a sample out of your fuel water separator and make sure that there's no water in there, or make sure you get all of that out of there if there is a little bit in there. Step 6 is to test your injectors if needed and check the injector history, including the expected life cycle of injectors. Step 7, check for your compression to confirm internal engine conditions. Now, I've seen people go wrong in situations like this in the past, so don't be like them. Don't throw injectors at the problem immediately because injectors are expensive. Don't ignore the glow plug or the air intake system, and always be sure to check that fuel quality. Because you see, while white smoke is annoying, it is a clue. However, it's not a diagnosis. So if your diesel is cranking but won't start and you've got white smoke, do not panic because it tells you some things, right? It tells you that fuel is there, but you just have to figure out why it's not burning. Now, if your engine isn't starting and there's no smoke at all, that's a completely different problem and situation than having white smoke. So watch this video next to learn what to do in that situation.